What are the legal limits of offshore trusts for asset protection? Imagine having a safety net for your wealth that can shield your assets from unexpected claims. Offshore trusts are often used for this purpose, but they do have boundaries you need to know. Offshore trusts must follow strict legal rules to be valid. They need to be irrevocable, which means once you set them up, you can't change or cancel them later. They also requiring an independent trustee who is not under U.S. court orders or jurisdiction. The trust must include a spendthrift clause that limits how beneficiaries can access funds, and distributions are at the trustee's discretion, not automatic. You have to establish and fund the trust before any legal issues or creditor claims arise. If you transfer assets into the trust after a lawsuit starts or when you know you might face claims, it is considered a fraudulent transfer. This is illegal and can lead to the trust being invalidated, with assets returned to pay creditors. Offshore trusts work best in jurisdictions that favor asset protection. Popular choices include the Cook Islands, Nevis, the Bahamas, Belize, Isle of Man, Cyprus, the Caymans, Gibraltar, and St. Vincent. These places have laws that make it hard for creditors to challenge asset transfers. But remember, if you face bankruptcy in the United States, offshore protections do not hold. Bankruptcy courts have authority worldwide and can order you to bring assets back into the United States. Ignoring such orders can lead to contempt charges or even jail time. The difference between state court and bankruptcy court is important. In state court, offshore trusts offer strong protection because foreign trustees are outside U.S. jurisdiction. Creditors must go to the foreign country to challenge the trust, which is costly and time-consuming. Many offshore jurisdictions also have shorter statutes of limitations, meaning creditors lose their chance to claim after a certain period, often less than the U.S. time limits. In bankruptcy court, protections are weaker. You must disclose all assets worldwide, including offshore trust interests. The court can order you to transfer trust assets into the bankruptcy estate, and refusing to do so can lead to contempt charges or jail. Challenging transfers to offshore trusts usually requires proof of actual fraud. In some jurisdictions like Nevis, creditors must prove that you intentionally committed fraud to challenge the transfer. But U.S. courts are willing to pierce offshore trusts if they find you kept control over the assets or tried to hide them. If a court believes the trust was set up mainly to hide assets from creditors, it can unwind the transfer and make the assets accessible. Offshore trusts are most cost-effective when protecting assets of at least $250,000 or more. Setting up and maintaining the trust involves legal fees, trustee costs, and ongoing reporting, which can be expensive. For smaller amounts, domestic asset protection strategies might be better and more affordable. While you can retain some control through trust protectors or specific clauses, you cannot have too much influence. If courts see that you still control the assets, they might ignore the trust and treat the assets as yours. Combining an offshore trust with other legal entities like limited liability companies or family limited partnerships can help you manage control while keeping assets protected. Remember, establishing an offshore trust does not mean you avoid taxes. You must report all trust income and assets to the Internal Revenue Service. Failing to do so can lead to heavy penalties or criminal charges. The IRS actively investigates offshore trusts used for tax evasion. In the end, offshore trusts are one tool in a broader plan for long-term financial security. They work best for protecting assets from business creditors and legal judgments in state courts. But they are less effective against tax authorities or in bankruptcy cases. Proper legal and tax advice is essential to set them up correctly and stay compliant. Always consider all your options and consult professionals before moving forward with offshore trusts.